What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Between Two Tales. This is big episode number 20. Welcome back to all our current viewers and fans and listeners. Appreciate you all. Welcome to all the newies. You're about to witness something cool. My name is Kevin. I'm one of the co-hosts of this show, and I'm joined by Dave. Dave, why don't you let all the new people know what we do here?
Yes, and I'll just say again, for those coming back, thank you, and thank you for returning. For all you newbies coming here to find out what you're about to witness, what you're about to see is Kevin and myself create an outline of a story, complete outline, in 90 minutes. On top of that, we're going to create the story from 5 random generated words. So we don't know what the words are right now. We didn't pre-generate them. Kevin will show his screen. You'll see the words come up. And in some way, we have to incorporate those words. It might be a theme, might be a character, might be just an object. Who knows? But we just have to incorporate those words. On top of that, we're going to generate 2 images and somehow incorporate those images into our outline. So the idea is to come up with a story, 90 minutes, from all these completely randomly generated content. At the end of this, Kevin is going to go to AI and we're going to see if we can outwit the AI, which is Chat GPT, and create a better story with similar parameters.
Yep. And so far, the AI hasn't been able to create a story that has been compelling enough to hold a candle to what we create. But it's getting better. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe it's on that way up. And once it hits that peak, that's going to be, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I think a handful of times, maybe 2 or 3-ish, it's generated some pretty good stories, but still not up with that top tier quality that you're about to see. I say this and I hope that we create a really good story, but
because we don't even know what we're about to create either. I think our last story made something about like inescapable forest with cannibals.
Yeah.
So if you want some nightmares, imagine yourself in a place like that. All right, let's generate some words.
Let's see.
Random word generator. All right, so 5 random words, 1 spin. Here we go. Corn.
Oh, okay.
Corruption.
Okay.
That's an interesting one.
Yes, it is.
Reflection. Bald. Dave will be in the story. Well, and resident.
There's a bald resident.
A man wakes up one day, looks in his reflection, and he's bald.
And his cornfields all of his corn is gone randomly.
It's been corrupted with pesticides. They just ruined him.
You want to generate these pics?
That's right. Let's generate these pictures.
In our timer.
Do number 1. Okay. City. Woman in a hood. Foot Locker.
Oh, you see Foot Locker in there? Okay.
Yeah, it's right here. Foot Locker.
Yeah. Okay.
Foot Locker. Woman in hood. City streets. Out
where that may be.
I was hoping it would say here, but it doesn't.
Doesn't look like the U.S. to me, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't know what this store is, but that would probably give it away.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good.
What is this over here?
Yeah, maybe those signs, if you get just a bit closer, something zone, but
I can't make that out.
Yeah, I can't really read it too well.
All right, well, picture number 2. Okay.
What?
Analytics of a business.
Yeah, a desk.
And an iPad or a tablet. Tablet analytics of a business.
Paper. This is a minor detail, I think, but there is Australia highlighted on this thing.
Oh, that's a good catch. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Maybe that could come and play. We'll never know. So this woman, she's doing the numbers for her business, and she uncovered something.
Or maybe something that woman is of a different, pretending to be a woman, a different life form. Because we still got to, and just so everyone knows, the timer is running, but we still got to incorporate corn. Because, when I think of corn, I think of cornfields.
Corn on the cob.
Corny.
some microwavable popcorn.
Hey, yeah.
Okay, so this woman, she's doing the books for a business. Find out there's some shady stuff going on in Australia.
She finds out there's some corruption.
She finds out there's some corruption going on in Australia. The stress makes her go bald. That's why she has the hood over her head.
Or she shaves her head bald once the heat picks up. She tries not to. She
Ah,
tries to,
she tries to
mask her
disguise
effect.
herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or she meets a bald resident that helps her, or whatever. Some shady
Bald residents
about
who
the
works at Foot
company
Locker.
she works for. She needs to go get some shoes, man. So she finds out something shady for the company she works for, corruption, and she is trying to put an end to it.
Or is Foot Locker being used as a way to launder money in Australia
Imagine.
by
But how would you
the
launder money through Foot Locker? This big old corporation. It has to be something small, something where people won't look too hard at the books.
well, it doesn't
So
have to be Foot Locker, call it something else.
next to it that we don't know what it is.
A corn farm. Corn farms. What do
Maybe
they mass
corn.
produce corn for? For like animal feed, right? Isn't that what they
Or I mean, corn finds its way oil, animal feed,
Oh right, I forgot oil.
all sorts
That's
of
true.
stuff.
Corn syrup.
Imagine if there's like a cryptocurrency named corn,
Ooh.
you know, and that somehow plays into this corruption angle here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's happened. Wasn't there a woman? Oh wait, wasn't there? I think she's on the run still. There was a woman who created a cryptocurrency, something like this, got a whole bunch of people to buy it or give her money or whatever, and then she just
Yeah, she
disappeared.
bounced.
And then like her brother, I think, got arrested, but like they want her, and she's just incognito. She's so maybe we have an anti-hero story, and our
Some dude
main.
literally tried that and he got arrested recently. Like one of the bigger coins and most popular coins last year is like Terra Luna.
Yeah,
And like his system went down and wiped out like $40 billion. And he got arrested in March, I think, end of March. They found his ass.
he was the one that went to Bermuda, right, or something like that.
I forgot where they arrested him, but yeah, they got him. And I don't know if this is true or not. I heard rumors that he had a ledger like hidden in his booty hole. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would be wild if it was, and I wouldn't even be surprised.
Well, I mean, like that could be interesting, and then we can work in bald whether she like last ditch effort kind of deal shaves her head like that. That's like I feel like for women to do that, like that's like a very she's up against the wall and she just needs to go bald.
Or maybe like she steals money from the corporations she's working for, transfers it to corn crypto. Now she's on the run.
Well, so either one works. One
Or
one is
maybe we could do
one
like
is
a
on the
like
company trying to get her, and the other one is like a global international manhunt. It's like a where's there used to be a show called Where's Carmen San
San
Diego, I
Diego.
think.
Yeah, I mean this could be a huge corporation, so it could turn into an international manhunt. Maybe it could be like a Robin Hood type deal. She like steals all his money from the company, under the anonymous group of corn gang, and then she, has her corn coin, and she just like, randomly airdrops it to people in random places, just giving them that corporation's money, and they can't take it because it's been converted to crypto. And obviously, corporation don't like that, so they got to offer.
So instead of making her the head of something, she's a peon in a sense, and she's Robin Hood
I mean, she could be a peon with
in the company. I mean,
really good hacking skills.
right? And then she has to go on the run as the company, whistle blows. I guess like she's stealing. It turns into a bigger thing, and she's getting chased. I kind of like the idea of being chased around the world. You know what I mean? Like chased in different countries or whatever.
Yeah, or she could be a part of like this group of Robin Hood people, and
Ooh, okay.
but
Like,
the corporation gets to her teammates, and they torture them, interrogate them, end up getting her identity.
so maybe she's like the founder of this smaller group, in scale, right? But she's the founder of the Robin Hood people, and then the things you just said.
Yeah, like they do small jobs, and this is just happened to be their biggest job yet.
Right. Or maybe, okay. So she's the founder of this Robin Hood group, and then they have their own crypto in order to like be able to send and buy things and do things, right? Okay. So this is their biggest heist, if you will. Right? She's been working there, and then they finally pull off this heist. And maybe they're like, all right, if we get to do this other really even bigger heist of maybe some kind of government occurrence, like some kind of government, like I think Treasury Department or something. I don't know. They'll have the money to give to the people to pay for, the debt, whatever the American consumer medical and all that stuff debt is.
Student loans.
Student loans. Yeah, yeah. That's a little bit more noble, I guess. Even though it's like
Student
you still went
loans.
to the school and you knew how much it was going to cost. So maybe they're like, we just need to get this bigger last big heist, and then we can pay off this. We can send money. We'll make it up, but deposit the money into these people's accounts, and then which is a bad idea because people would just go buy some random stuff and not even pay off their student loans, even if they knew it was for student loans. But they figure a way to like, we're gonna pay off the student loans.
I feel like she just give it to the people.
Man, that's very trusting.
Whatever they
I know
decide to
I know some
spend it
people
on.
with student loans that would just go buy a really expensive car
Oh, of course.
instead of paying it off. So, but all right, you can rock and roll with that. So here's a question. So she does this heist, or they do this heist, and she's kind of like the forefront of it. And what's the last heist? The one where they try to pull it off, and so like the way I kind of imagine it currently is they kind of do this first thing, or kind of starts off with that. Obviously, puts her and the rest of them on the radar of the company, but then of the government, whatever government it is, and then they start to try to put together a case and like track them down. So then we have this whole tracking situation, and then while they're building a case, and then so that's happening on the government side based off their actions. On the other side is the group trying to evade and do another big heist and get away with it so they can pay off these debts.
Yeah, we can make it in a futuristic, more dystopian world where
Hmm.
maybe there's not a tyrant. Maybe like the corporations run everything,
Yeah.
and she's just stealing the money from them just to give back to the people because they're controlling everything in this world.
Right. And it might not even be student loans. It might be like,
Just anything, just for living.
yeah, cost of, or maybe the taxation is so high or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like the story needs to have like a. So she's like the anti-hero, but she's not an evil person. She's just doing things for her own sense of justice.
Right.
But then there needs to be. I feel like the story would be complete with like the opposite character. Maybe like,
With justice, the person that
yeah,
embodies
the guy that's
justice.
actually going by the wall,
Yeah.
like an FBI guy that's after her.
Right.
Yeah, like a cyber police dude who's tracking her, constantly talks
Oh,
to her.
yeah. In this timeline, you ever play the video game? Of course, I'm forgetting it. Detroit.
No, I've never played it. Is that what happens?
It's so basically, if I'll give a quick, very quick, three robots or androids, whatever you want to call them, very human looking, right? So three of them, very human looking. They all have their own path, but one of the robots' path is he's a detective. He works with this other guy named Hank, I believe, and Hank is like kind of washed up. He's on his way out as far as being a detective. Like he's bitter, suicidal, etc. And then this android is just like by the book. You know what I mean? At least he starts off very by the book. So we could have this very by the book robot android thing probably working with a human, but like,
Yeah, and he's trying to track her down.
yeah. But that also says to me that he'll have certain skills even more beneficial than a human. For example, like that robot was able to like do things with computers that you normally wouldn't be able to do,
Right.
and taste. I think he would go around like tasting blood or whatever, and like he could tell you like their blood type, and then how long the blood's been stale or something like this, if I remember correctly. Like a whole bunch of like stuff this detective was able to, like the robot detective. So we might have fun with like what other capabilities it might be able to do that.
Right. Okay. So we have Android Holmes. Android Holmes is after our lead hacker Robin Hood person, and it becomes a story where it's like the audience is rooting for
Who knows? Rooting
technically the
for,
bad guy,
they
and
might
then
be rooting for both. Like certain set audience might be rooting for the android.
yeah, depending on how we make his character. Yeah,
Right. Okay. Let's so future. Where do we want to base this?
futuristic Montana. No, I'm just like a metropolitan Chicago.
So with Chicago.
All right,
Yeah.
Chicago. After the age of
A reckoning.
what was that? What did they call the teen takeover? After
Oh yeah.
after the age of teen takeover, we
For
are
those of
in
you currently listening and watching, Chicago is in the middle of a teen takeover. Apparently, is what's being dubbed, and it can use a robot android. They'll probably kick it over and take
they
its
probably
place.
overrun it. Yeah. All
Oh
right,
man.
so Chicago in the cyberpunk futuristic Chicago.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk Chicago. We need a name for our
What else we do?
main character,
For that good old name gen,
Leanne.
Leandra.
So we need to come
Just
up with a name for
two.
her and a pseudonym or like
Yeah.
an alias too.
She'll go by Corn.
I
No, she goes by
like
Res. No, she goes by Resident.
resident resident corn.
Because with things going on, it's like who stays here? The resident, and they always just reply, "They're all the resident," but maybe that's what they go by.
All right,
Well, we'll think about it.
that could be
Unity
the name of their group, the residents.
could be members of the Resident Corn.
And then corn
We're just throwing things together.
corn maybe is just their cryptocurrency because I mean they're not. Maybe they have to eat a lot of microwavable popcorn and canned corn because they don't got that much money. And that's like government issued like food or something, like part of the free food they give out. I don't know. Could
Imagine
be go a lot of
turned
ways.
into Look, we have Raven, Harper, Michelle, Jan. Imagine I can't
Dana,
imagine that Janice doing this.
Janice,
Kate, Elizabeth,
Paige,
Belinda. I knew a girl named Belinda. Kay, Fiona.
Anna, Annalise. I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Victoria. Taking a break. Oh, that's my leg. Okay.
Got anything?
I think, therefore I am. I think we go, well, with Eva.
Okay.
That seems about right. And then she will go by the code name, I don't know, Blue. Maybe they're all colors.
Mr. Blue,
Yeah.
Mr. Red. What's that movie from? Where's that?
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, Reservoir Dog. That's right.
Yeah, Eva. She can go by.
Maybe they have like historical figures as names too.
Hmm.
She will be Helen Keller.
Helen.
Helen.
Call her Queen Elizabeth.
And Frank.
Yeah, we could go with Helen.
Helen.
Yeah. Catherine the Great.
So, are we going with the residents as their little hacker group?
Yeah.
The residents. Now we need a name for Mr. Android Detective.
I feel like the name should be something like I could be male or female in the sense,
Oh, I thought you were about to say like a serial number, like
Oh,
the
good.
Star Wars character CP3
Oh,
R2D2.
good. I think in the game, I think they were given names, but they had model numbers. Like a name like Hunter could work between them, but could also we could just do numbers.
X5Z.
Got to put 100 in it. X5. The X5. It has to sound something that would sound good on a commercial. You mean the X5000. Like, that doesn't even make sense. X500. Yeah, you can say X500.
Sherlock
The
500.
is your best detective companion. Pick one up today at Costco.
No, he should definitely have his own. I feel
Name.
like in this world,
So the type of Android is the X500, but they call it Hunter because it will start. Its job is to hunt.
oh, okay.
It's a name and it's kind of your occupation. Hunt down the bad people.
All right, so we have Hunter, our detective.
And then human detective, if we want one, could also be female.
Could I have her as a side detective?
Yeah. Learning the ropes from the robot detective, the android detective.
The lead detective, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Side detective.
So you're very progressive for that, calling it lead detective, as I'm trying to call it robot. You're like, nah, man, this thing is real.
No, it's for real. He's taking down the bad guys. He's the lead detective. Side detective, Marilyn.
Merlin. Yeah, why not? Merlin.
Marilyn. I have a pretty cool way on how this should start.
Lay it.
Just like taking inspiration from the anonymous people.
Yeah.
She pops up on the screen, says a message to everybody in her like masked voice and everything, masked deep voice. They've just finished a job. They went after a non-profit who wasn't really a non-profit, and they're just exposing how corrupt it was. So like, if it was the equivalent to like a Red Cross, you're like, did you know this organization, the Red Cross, your donations, 90% of it is being pocketed by this greedy CEO. Shows a picture of her. Well, I've taken back the 90% and we've actually given it to the people where it's supposed to go to.
So the company is a foundation of some sort, charity.
Yeah. This is not the main job. This is like one of the
One of their
like the
big,
small ones to lead up to the big one.
yeah.
The big one's like a major corp, whatever we
Well,
decide to
that's what I'm
call it.
saying. So, like, should we start with a big one? Like, they could have already had some of these ones underneath their belt, and then they do one. So, like, maybe it starts off with them doing just this, talking about this foundation. Hey, they supposed to give this percentage to the actual cause. In reality, they pocket more than 90% or whatever,
Yeah.
and we've come to take the money back and
Yeah.
redistribute it.
Yeah.
The small one introduces us to this group,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then it moves into them doing a bigger one.
Yeah. It
The
leads
one
to
with the
them
big
like
corp.
planning out and
Mm-hmm.
executing the bigger one. Yep.
So okay, so is this I guess like a YouTube video?
Could be, or she
Yeah,
somehow
not like the
hacked her
movie.
way onto all the billboards, like in Times Square or
Oh,
whatever.
okay. Yeah, we're getting into some of those now. Okay, so well,
Yeah,
it
she's
could
got
be a
some
YouTube
skills.
video and then hacked and then placed like shown all around the world or whatever on.
Yeah, and there's people like watching on their phone,
Yeah.
watching on the train, looking at the billboard.
So the YouTube video of a masked woman telling the world they recovered.
I feel like it should start. I don't know why this seems cool. It should start when they're getting ready to broadcast it. Like she's like there's literally like a member of their crew, and they're like, "Are you ready to go?" And she's like, "Yep, hold on." She
I
takes
mean,
like a couple deep breaths, puts on her mask or whatever. She's like, "All right, 3." And they have like a countdown, and then
the only thing with that is not, I mean, nothing wrong with it. Is there's something about from the audience perspective because that shows you who you're looking at right away. Like not necessarily understanding what you're seeing, but it shows you who you're seeing. Versus like their mask, blah blah. You're like, what the hell's going on? Who are these?
oh, okay,
And then it's like, so you're what it does. It makes the audience feel like the other people in the world on their phones, and this random thing pops up. They're like, what the hell is happening? You know what I mean? So like they're experiencing that the same way the rest of the world is experiencing them for the first time, which is like,
gotcha. Yeah,
what?
yeah,
I don't know. Are you? Who are you? What? You know what I mean? And then we come off camera, and then mask comes off, blah blah, and then we start to follow our main character, our anti-hero.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's a good. Yeah, yeah. I like
um,
that.
telling the world to recover money from a, I guess a fake nonprofit. They have to be fake
Quote,
if they're
quote unquote nonprofit.
not giving them money where it should be going. They recovered.
They show yeah, they show like pictures of the nonprofit people having throwing extravagant parties.
Envision something like a Wolf of Wall Street in like one of those office parties. They recovered the
Yeah.
money.
Now we're gonna make these people actually seem evil. Appears in live broadcasts across streaming platforms and digital billboards, detailing their recent heist or the recent job, exposing nonprofit, greedy CEO, money being used for party.
Yeah, and I also envisioned the like a quick beat being, this is very filmmaker ish, but it's like as she's taking off her mask, intercutting with the news. Who is this masked woman in this group known as the Resident?
The residents.
You know,
It should cut to Hunter and Marilyn at some point too. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, if this were a film, it'd be like intercutting it, where it's like, so the live stream ends, and then someone on the news comes on, and they're like, "Who is this?" Blah 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 or whatever, right? Called the resident, and so while they're talking, it's like the visual is taking off the mask, walking to her group, and then we kind of drop into them. But anyways, newscaster with the newscaster saying, "Who are these masked vigilantes?" I guess I don't know. Robin Hood folks,
yeah, like who are these masked vigilantes?
and what is the resident? And then we literally go to answer that. So,
What
all
is
right.
the resident?
So we have that. It's basically cut to Hunter. Well, so we'll bring Hunter in a second, but we have to go more into Eva.
Yeah, so this, well, maybe we can show her walking into her place of work, the office building,
Yeah.
checking in like everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, we could do that. There's definitely a sequence of events that can be rearranged, whatever. But like one sequence is so Eva walks over to her folks, or a couple of them, I guess. They might be saying good job, blah, blah. And then they allude to this is, you haven't seen nothing yet. Then she's walking into work. She checks in, and it looks like she's just doing a very boring, like,
Oh, I
day
got a cool one.
thing. Go ahead.
So I got this. So Dave Portnoy, the president of Barstool Sports, he
Yep.
says he has bottles of champagne with the names of his enemies
Yeah.
carved on them.
Yeah. I heard about that.
And then whenever something happens to him, he pops it. So maybe they have the same thing. They got bottles of champagne of
With their
corporations.
targets.
Yeah, they go after and they pop the Red Cross one.
He walks over to her crew and high five them. One of them pulls. It's not just a bottle. It's like one of these, full on cases. Or pulls a alcohol case with the name
Of the foundation on
of
it.
the nonprofit and opens the case to find a expensive. It should be expensive. They're Robin Hood people, but just a bottle of champagne. To find a bottle of champagne. This person shakes it
Bottle of
up.
champagne, yeah.
Has to be champagne, bro. I mean, that's the celebrator's drink.
Of course.
The person shakes it up and pops the. It's funny because it's like by this group doing that, it also shows their lack of optics on like if someone were to see that, how it would look like they're also maybe just as bad. I mean, hey, they're the anti-heroes, but like, because imagine being like, we're about the people, we're gonna take money, we're gonna do this and take it and give it, and then it's like, where y'all get the money for this champagne, man?
Yeah,
But hey, we wouldn't say it if it was just beer, I guess.
that's right.
This person shakes it up, pops the cork, they party on in a, I guess, what would it be? Like a
Yeah, they're in like a
rundown room.
apartment building or
Right,
shack or whatever. I don't
right.
know.
Well, I almost imagining it, yeah, apartment building. I almost imagine it being like something that's been like run down, like people live in there, but nothing's upkept anymore. Okay, so we have that. The next day, we see Eva.
Hungover.
But Eva is going to
Fucking.
go by her other name. She's going to go by Helen at work.
Okay.
Because she doesn't. That's their target. You know, she doesn't want them to. The next day we see Eva walk
She's hungover from all the champagne she just drank.
walk into work. She's greeted by the security desk. Just to make it seem like, oh, she's been coming here for a while. It seems like she's greeted by a security desk. Her coworkers greet her. They get into the elevator, and here we go. Here's another little tidbit here. And they ask if she saw
The broadcast.
the broadcast from some group named the Residents. The Resident.
And Eva could be like, I don't watch the news. So
Eva tells them she doesn't really pay attention to the news, but she'll check it out. He's got a important note. Her coworkers. Is that what his name? Yeah, Helen.
hell,
Eva's at her desk doing mundane things when something needs to happen. She's doing these mundane things, or we can be having two different simultaneous scenes kind of going where she's at her desk doing this thing, and then because I want a proper. You need a proper entrance for when Hunter comes on. I don't want to messy it up by intercutting. But what is she doing? Like, why is she at work? Is she there that day to? Oh, I forgot.
depending on her job, she has to get like a tablet of the analytics somehow. So
Maybe someone's desk.
maybe she's literally an IT security person
Good.
with her skills.
She just needs access. Yeah.
And and if she's that,
She needs to go there with a goal, right? So if the goal is she needs to get more money transferred over or figure out the account information so she can make the transfer.
maybe she's working in the department where like all the data is kept. So she's already got her in because of her skills or whatever. Her forged resume, I don't know how she got in there. But she got in, and maybe she and the group hatches a plan to get the supervisor, have him walk out like in an emergency or something, so she can walk in and stick a thumb drive in his computer.
Yeah, and get the
and start stealing
analytics
shit
and whatever.
Yeah.
Account information. So okay, so
maybe there's like a spoof text message from this guy's wife saying, "I'm in labor" or something.
Yeah. She's at her desk doing mundane things when all of a sudden her boss
runs out the door
and runs out the door. Her coworker asks, "What do you think that was about?" Helen's reply, "I don't know, but maybe you should go see." The coworker. There's obviously a better way of doing this, but whatever. The coworker leaves to be nosy. Okay? That's when Eva does her plan. Places a thumb drive into downloads count information. Now, so yeah, I mean, it implies that we're at the desk and all this other stuff. Eva sends the information to her tablet and looks it over quickly. What she needed is there.
And then that's when she discovers that maybe the corporation is opening up a new facility or headquarters in Australia.
Yeah.
So they're about to send over a ton of money there. And she does, I don't know if this is possible, but like some hacking stuff where she actually took the money from whatever that thing is placed in. It looks like the money is still there just because of the numbers. But when they try to withdraw it, like it's not there.
Well, so, like, there's also control how many things we reveal. So, like, we got this information and stuff, and all of a sudden, this Australia thing, she only has so much time. But whether or not she actually uses this current time to take the money, well, no, she doesn't want to raise too many alarm bells because they're going to do a massive take or massive so far. You think she should do it like right away? I think.
No.
Oh, okay.
She's just like gathering information now. Like she sees this is the opportunity to take from the funds that are being transferred to Australia or something.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like their entire thing, but it'll be like a huge blow to the company.
Right. Okay. So they're opening a new office in Australia. Eva notices there's some budgets and etc. to go out soon. She smiles at the opportunity presenting itself. Interesting. As Eva sits back at her desk, her coworker comes in, says, their boss's wife is going into, could be labor, could be boss's wife is breaking up with him because she caught him cheating. So maybe she used, maybe, oh man, I was gonna say something. I don't know if I want to put it out there in the internet world and have people. I'll put it out there. But if anyone takes this and does this, you are wicked. Okay, wicked. But what I'm going to say is, all right, you have this labor thing. Okay, or maybe she's breaking up with him because someone sent over, these AI generated pictures to make it seem like he was cheating on her, and now,
Oh,
and now the wife is mad because she doesn't know if he's actually cheating on her or not. That is wicked. Don't ever do that, anyone. I'm just,
yeah, we could do that.
man,
That's a
that's a
good one.
crazy way to
Coworker finds out
break
that the
people up.
boss is having
Boss is having an
relationship
affair or
problems.
whatever. Yeah, boss is having an affair, but it's AI generated photos. He's not really, but wife is leaving him because she saw some. So that would be a tough one.
That is a tough one. It's hard. That's hard to prove.
It's hard to prove and disprove. Like that would be a whole level of evil for someone to do. And there are people that would definitely do it. Oh man,
Oh, for sure.
I almost didn't even want to say it, put that thought out there.
All right.
I feel bad. All right,
So
so that happens. Eva leaves work and goes to her.
her
Well,
hideout, her
let's say
HQ.
that happens, right? For doing some editing or some quick editing in a sense. So Eva leaves work and goes to her hideout building. What I think we should do is, so after that little boss thing, we introduce Hunter,
Yeah,
right? So let's do that. We could do the hideout after we introduce Hunter. So how do we introduce Hunter? Police,
I think it should be like
police.
just like those typical detective shows. Like he's sitting at his cubicle and some papers slide across his desk, and he takes a look at it. He's like, the residence again. Or his side detective brings him this case.
I was just about to say maybe he's on the scene of something. Maybe we see him successfully taking down some other thing that is around. Just so that we will show like Hunter is successful with his cases, and he's wrapping up a case. They're arresting some people on money laundering, right, or whatever. And then the new detective, so he's doing this. Car pulls up. He's talking to whoever he needs to talk to. Everything's winding down at this point. They got their persons in custody. Everything's winding down. Car pulls up. People get out. Two people get out. The new detective and like their overall boss. They're arriving on scene. They're like, "Hey, good job, Hunter. Blah blah. This is blah blah. Your 50th successful arrest or what? I don't know." And then, by the way, we have a newbie for you to train up. Her name is whatever name we gave her, Marilyn. And then so that way we both show that he's successful at what he's good at what he does. He has success at what he does. And then like, here's your newbie as well because you're so good. We need you to train others.
Yeah,
And it keeps it active. Like I don't know, it just makes the scene active. Instead of sitting at a desk, it's like we were already at a desk with Eva before, and so like just to give it a different energy.
it would be interesting. I mean, kind of hard unless we want to say that the robot, like he has like a conscience and like a moral code and stuff,
Yeah,
and like emotions. But like, it'd be interesting to put in like kind of a flaw in this guy that he sees like the justice in what the residents are doing,
yeah.
but it's still against the law.
That's pretty similar to the detective in Detroit. Like because that game is one of those games where you can make different choices, and the outcome of those choices combined leads to certain leads to certain outcomes, right? So your choices lead to certain outcomes. some of those outcomes are, it's about injustice to robots, that game, in a sense. And on one hand, they're causing trouble and doing all this other stuff, so he gets that. And on the other hand, he's also a robot himself, and what's right, what's wrong. So mentally, in his systems, they kind of have these scenes where he has like a governor and tries to keep him on the right path to doing the right thing and obeying by the systems, the software, put in place. So that way, the coding put in place that he continues to do the right thing, but he also has free will in a sense. And it's like it starts to have an issue with both. Do I follow through or do I not? So this can be exactly what you're talking about in the sense where he understands the logic and what they're doing. That's not the issue, right? So that might become a contention between Hunter and Eva at some point. And he's like, "Oh, but I do understand the logic, and I agree. But the law is the law." You know what I mean?
Right, right, right. Yeah, and we can either have him taking down like I don't know some other crime that's not related to the residents, like maybe he just foiled like a money laundering
Yeah.
thing.
So
But I thought of another scene just to make a callback to the beginning. Maybe he's like on a Zoom or a video call with the CEO of that foundation, and they're like telling him to do whatever they need to do to go catch the residents, and he's like, "We're working on it. We're working on it." And she's like, "Try to get the money back too." And then he's like, "Well, the money went to the causes, so
right.
what's the problem here?"
I think that's what should happen after. So there's this quick scene of like his success and meeting his new partner. We have the scene with Eva at the hideout, letting them know, "Hey, our timeline for our plan is moving up because I found out about this Australia thing." And then we have the scene after that, potentially with Hunter on the call with the foundation, and then we see that engagement. So it's like building the case, and we kind of see Hunter like going through his steps of like, okay, gotta talk to the victims, and then
We
continue
start to
on.
see like glimpses of his flaws because he's like, "Well, the
Yeah.
money went to the
Oh, I
causes.
see what you
So
mean. Yeah, that's
why do you
true.
need it back?"
Like, oh, that's interesting. So like we start to see his. We also start to see his reasoning and like his how he's drawing logic from it, right? Like he should just be like, it's the law. Yes, sure, we'll hunt him down. But he also sees the irony in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
All right, about 37 minutes. So Hunter is on scene.
doing a lot of character development today,
Yeah,
more than usual.
it's pretty good stuff though.
Yeah, it
Hunter
is.
is
Hunter's
on
on.
scene
There's a
arresting,
bunch of people in handcuffs getting put into patrol
yep,
cars.
arresting some folks. Other.
The Chinese takeout place was actually a front for the
Did
triads.
you see that one about the cigar smoking? I think and they're
Which one?
gambling downstairs or something.
Yeah,
Sir, what were you doing in there? And he's like,
he's like a coffee shop,
oh,
right?
he's a coffee
Yeah.
shop in there. Get us some coffee, man. Coffee. Nah. And it was on the scene. He's arresting some folks. I'm actually gonna rip that same thing and put it in there because that was so funny.
Yeah, no, I
Huh.
definitely gotta steal that.
There's a coffee shop
Sir,
for
you were in the coffee shop from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m.? Yeah, it's coffee, man. I'm a
for
night owl. Need my
gambling
coffee.
ring. There's a coffee shop front for a gambling ring. A car pulls up. Oh god. A car pulls up and two people get out. It's the boss and the newbie. Boss, try to make it short. Congrats, Hunter, and introduces newbie. And then if we want to string that kind of conversation out in our overall story, we can. So we have that. Cool. I imagine Hunter being like, follow me or whatever. I don't know. Okay, so then we go to Eva. She leaves work and goes to her hideout building. It's nondescript looking abandoned building with people still living there. Eva tells the crew of the updated timeline since he knows money will be moved for a new office. Okay. So we have that. It needs to lead to something. So just real quick, we did both the random pictures. The resonant is what it's called. We haven't used the word reflection and bald, but okay.
That could be. I mean, if we want, when she's on the run
Yeah.
and she actually shaves
Oh,
her
that's
head,
right.
she could just look at her
She has to
reflection.
reflect and then she new office
Yeah.
opening. The plan, I'm about to use corn right now, to move the money, the plan to move the money over to the coin, the corn coin is upon us or upon them. Next step, or if someone asks when, Eva says tomorrow.
Right away.
Someone on the crew tells the rest the new hideout will be ready by tomorrow then. Because my thinking here is, all right, they already did this thing, they're in the same place, they're about to do another thing, and they're trying to like keep moving around just in case someone's following them or not. And no one really is just yet, but it's also like a little bit of their worry. They don't know who's following, if they're being followed. They probably if you did the things they did, you probably would think that someone's paying attention and probably want you. You know.
Yeah.
All right. So new hideout tomorrow. Just to change up location. Okay. Cool. So we know the plan is tomorrow, and maybe it won't exactly go to the plan, but it does work. And then the real hunt is on. So then we go to Hunter. He's on the call with the foundation. The nonprofit is telling him and his partner everything they know. My guess is they would have their IT security folks kind of try to backtrack and figure out like what exactly happened, right? So there's kind of a debrief on what actually happened. Their IT partners debrief Hunter and Marilyn. Eventually, the CEO requests that Hunter not only find who did this, but return the money to the org or whatever, the nonprofit.
Mhm.
Now,
And then maybe you could say, well, that's out of my jurisdiction. You should probably talk to I don't know, whoever handles
the
the finances thing.
yeah, well, so he'll probably say something like he will find the person, like he has that certain level of confidence. He will find the person. Maybe he'll say we'll find the person and return the money. But one question, if you don't mind, it appears the money went to the places you wanted it to go. Are you asking we take it away? And that's a very interesting way to position it, because like it went to where you say you want it to go, and
Right.
like the optics of us, like they still get it, and then the optics of them then feel like give me the money back. It's not great on the company, a nonprofit, right? Like, so it's a fair question, and it's also a good question to he's trying to kind of figure out what the CEO kind of thinks. And then maybe the CEO doubles down, whatever. CEO doubles down. He wants money back. It's not for them to decide how much they get.
So we're showing
So we're showing
the CEO is actually evil.
yeah,
Or like they're greedy.
yeah, oh hell yeah. And then Hunter is confused, or sees the irony, but will do his job. This might be a moment for the human Marilyn to say something. We have that back and forth. So Marilyn says, "That's just horrible. You are a crook." She might just say it straight up. Maybe they should be locking them up, right?
Oh, she says that to them on the call?
Yeah, why not? Maybe she says you are a crook, and Hunter is just observing because he doesn't have no emotion in this fight, but he's processing this,
The
and then
CEO is taken aback. He's like, how dare you? And then
CEO curses her out and asks,
Hunter jumps in. He could be like, look, we'll find the perpetrators and we'll do our best to get the money. Not like promising that he'll get the money back. It's more like promising he'll catch the people, but
well, Hunter, yeah, exactly, right. So Hunter jumps in and reassures the people will be caught in justice, right? So here's another thing. Outside or somewhere, I'm not going to worry too much about location. Marilyn asks what that was about, after the call. This whole justice thing, after the call, don't you think they kind of deserve it? She's asking those questions where we get to see who Hunter really is. Now, what does Hunter reply?
I feel like he doesn't really. He should act
It's
like
going to
a.
be like something like very.
I feel like he should. Right now, he should act like a by the book lawman. Like,
He should say, like, I understand that this causes great concern, but the law is the law.
yeah, exactly. And then I had a funny, I guess, dynamic between the two. She's like, "So where do we go from now?" And Hunter says, "Well, I'm going home." And he gives her a stack of papers and says, "You're doing paperwork.
Yeah. All right. All right. So what now?
Newbies get to do paperwork. That's how it is."
Okay. So now it's the next day. It's the next day. The crew and Eva up and readying their base, their current base for departure. Eva lets them know that once the money is transferred, she will return to the new location, but will have to go back to work to not raise any suspicion.
Yeah, I'm guessing we don't have that much time left, or else we can
About
go through this
25
plan.
minutes.
Huh?
25 minutes. So
No, I was gonna say we can hatch out like a sweet plan, like they're all in disguises or whatever, and they.
that's what I was thinking. I was like, what?
I don't know if we're gonna have time for that though.
Yeah, I know. I kind of want to hash one out, but like, we're kind of just in the beginning of this. All right, let's do like a quick. All right, let's do a quick boom, and then we can add meat to the bones.
All right.
Because we're a little meaty right now. That's okay. So she doesn't want to raise any suspicion. Okay, whatever, right? So Eva goes into the office and follows through on the plan. There's a hiccup, but she figures whatever she needs out and it works. Okay. The heck is going on? Yeah. So she figured out everything. Yeah. The crew has relocated without problem. Hunter is brought on, or Hunter. Should they do another news thing? The group, or maybe it's just in the news.
No, they should announce.
Like I'm thinking they should announce, but I'm like maybe this time it's just in the news. Just in major corp, blah blah blah. Just lost, blah blah blah. All this money, etc. And then they kind of do their thing. So like
They should announce, like they should put up a QR code and be like, "Major Corp, we've hit Major Corp." Instead of giving the money back to the people, they've decided to expand their evil operations, and we've just hit them. Scan this QR code if you want a piece, and everyone
huh,
is just scanning and getting a piece of the money. I was just
okay,
thinking in my head on some steps that would happen in their plan that would sound cool.
okay, all
And
right.
then
So
we can talk about it
they'll
after.
relocate without problem. The resident has a video meeting. Yeah, I guess Eva's doing it again, and they tell him about the QR code. Hunter is alerted to the new development, and oh, okay, here we go. He decides to scan the QR code, try with his eye, and try to backtrack it to something. Right? Hunter gets some information that he can follow up on. Marilyn is impressed, and they go. Okay. So now the crew technically needs to go on the run. Well, soon, not yet. Like they have to get a whiff that someone's looking at, like getting close to them. You know what I mean? So whatever this information is that Hunter gets that allows him to follow up. So maybe he goes to follow it up, and what he finds leads to a member of the crew.
Or maybe he just so happens just to be around, and it's like it's just a innocent mistake made by one of the resident members, and then Hunter just puts the pieces together and follows up on him. Like maybe the guy, I don't know what this is gonna look like, but maybe like the one of the resident members, they're in a coffee shop, one of the resident members he doesn't know he's a resident member, but he's like, "Yeah, I'm about to pay for this coffee with that." Like he's just bragging about it. He's like, I'm about to pay for this coffee with the corn coins from the airdrop yesterday." And then Hunter, he's just noticing it, and he scans his phone with his eyes, and he catches something.
Yeah, maybe we run it like something that's kind of happened in real life. Like maybe he's able to backtrack the first post of something like this happen, like someone boasting about it, right? So, the first post about someone saying anything about using the coins, he backtracks it and it's like one of the crew members that's just an idiot. And he's like,
Yeah,
paying for my coffee with the corn coin, so happy, blah, blah. And then that's where Hunter goes to figure out, like, who's the first person that to ever even talk about this digitally? How did they know about it? You know what I mean? That's a logical thought and
yeah.
hard to do, but I mean, he has the system. So Hunter gets some information about the first person to post on the social media regarding the corn coin. He wants to follow up on this, right? Okay, so a crew member is seen walking over to a store. Hunter tells Marilyn
Grab him.
they are going to follow him and see if he takes out his phone and he can identify the model and the specs of the phone, see if it matches up, etc. And then he could end up getting the QR code. So Hunter is in the store. So Hunter's in the store. I'm just going to be brief. Hunter's in the store, sees what he needs to see, and they take him in. We have a interrogation at the station. The question is, does he get more information, or does he give them the information that they think will save him, and gives up the old location, the old, you know, where you guys stay, where you guys currently located, and he gives the old spot, but someone had messed up, and he's able to find a newer spot or something. I don't know.
I think.
Or someone's like, "Oh, I saw some detectives, I saw some police like sniffing around our old hideout. They're on to us now. Like they're searching for us, and they already know where the first one is." That will raise the alarm bells for them to start making some moves.
Yeah, or maybe the resident member texts a code
He
to
could,
everyone else so
yeah,
they know what that code is.
and that
Like that.
might actually kick off someone like seeing it. So the crew member gives them what they want, the old hideout. In where they let him go though, I feel like they wouldn't let him go. I'd be like, "You gonna stay
No.
your ass right?" But he's not gonna be able to text them. So gives them the old hideout. Hunter and Marilyn go to old hideout. Well, they think it's the current hideout, but whatever. They go to old hideout with some cops. Another crew member is watching from afar
Yeah, because
as they raid the place.
they haven't heard from the other guy that
Yeah,
got
or
taken
maybe they're
in.
looking for him or something. I don't know. Watches from afar as they raid the place. This member rushes back and tells everyone the cops are on to us. We need to make moves.
Cops are on to
So
us.
now they got bounce. Everyone, about 13 minutes. So everyone leaves, pretty much, right? Everyone's going their separate ways. The question is, what's the game plan? Everyone goes their separate ways as to not get caught, like all of them get caught at the same time. They can continue to run, and like a lot, like logically, if they're not all together, then so if someone else goes down, they can still continue to go.
Yeah, I feel like how many others? Well, the two others or whatever.
I'm not
Should,
even worried about it right now. I'm just like,
yeah, I feel like everyone should be able to escape except for Ava because somehow they track her.
oh yeah, but okay, here it is. So they can still consider they go their separate ways. Eva tells them she will be leaving the country, but will be available to them. She suggests they do that as well. All right, so they do that. Okay. So Hunter is upset that he's been lied to in a sense, but scans the old. He
Well, you should take the phone,
well,
that dude's phone.
yeah. So that's one option. Another option was, well, that's well actually both. Okay, so he scans the hideout, and here it is, and finds the champagne. About to do some DNA. Finds the champagne and cups. He places this is going to get a little gross. Places his mouth on every cup and takes and analyzes for
In his mind, he's
like
backtracking his
he's
DNA against
working.
all the records that are in his head.
Right. You know what I mean? The DNA. Some folks,
And then her DNA comes up
not her.
because
I'm
she
gonna have her DNA not come up because I got another little thing that might be cool.
okay.
So he takes it, but so some folks are coming up. He knows, and technically he doesn't know if they're actually involved because he doesn't know. At this time he doesn't know if this hideout was ever a hideout or just like a place for homeless, right? But he knows who to follow up on. Okay,
Yep.
he goes back to the station, right? And while there, listens to the new broadcast, right? Because he's alerted about it, but he listens to the new broadcast. While doing so, he analyzes the voice. Now, she can use a voice changer, but maybe he has a way of taking away, right? Analyzes the voice. His software for programming can take away the changed voice. Still, he's not 100%. He's not sure who he is after, right? But at the very least, he's compiling all this data so that when he does come across Eva, he's like, that's the voice, that's the DNA. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff he can cross reference. So he's like any detective, he's gathering clues. Doesn't know who, but he's able to gather these clues. So after that, he takes the phone of the crew member that's in custody, but is stopped by Michelle or Marilyn, excuse me. This is a kind of departure of his character, though. I was going to say, like, he takes the phone to try to backtrack or try to call them or something like this,
Yeah.
but he wouldn't just take the phone without a judge's order.
Right.
So he's a man of the law. So he
Right.
puts in paperwork to get the phone.
To unlock the phone and whatever.
Yeah, to get the phone and unlock it with the judge, right? So he puts in the paperwork. That's not going to happen right away. Okay. So we got about 7 minutes, 7 minutes, 50 seconds. So Eva leaves the country.
Maybe he catches her hailing for a cab or whatever, and the voice sounds like a match to the.
Should she be caught in a different country? That's what I was going to have them do.
Oh, you want to catch her in a different country?
I think.
But how are they going to catch her if they don't have the same info as Hunter?
The same info as Hunter's going to go.
Yeah, but how does he know to follow?
That's the question we need to answer if that's the case. How does he know to get her at the cab? You know what I mean?
Well, he has. So you said he deprogrammed the mask, so he has a basis of what that voice would sound like without the voice mask. Yeah. But he doesn't know. He can't put a face to that voice.
Right.
But he has that voice like in his head. So whenever something sounds like that voice, he can trigger it.
Okay. This is a streamlined outline. Like, I don't know. I envision there's a lot more that this story could be, but we're running out of time. So whatever. But okay. So just like the nonprofit, this company goes to do an interview and he asks if anything suspicious happened. And they're like, not, just the nothing more suspicious than we normally do, employees not showing up for work, blah, blah. Oh, can you give me a list of employees that have not shown up to work in the past 2 days? Eva, some others. Oh, she's in charge of IT, whatever. And maybe he can somehow get a hold of like how she sounds, and he has a match. He knows who to look for.
Maybe they keep like, I don't know, like video records of their employees introducing themselves or something. And he's like, can you?
Or maybe she's just on a video. Like maybe they used to have a video of people like companies do this all the time where they'll have like,
Oh, she did a presentation.
yeah,
So he just
presentation
watches.
and it's recorded and like
Yeah,
he's
so he
just
watches
talking.
that presentation
Yeah,
and he's like analyzing the
he's like,
voices.
it's
He's
a
like,
match, and he's like, okay, this is who we're
now
at.
he needs her
And
DNA.
now he needs to find out where she is so he can do all those things, right? And that becomes like the challenge. But 5 minutes, so they unlock. He sends an order to unlock the phone. I kind of see a really interesting scene playing out over the phone where they're like, it's like catch me who you can, catch me if you can, kind of deal.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
so all right, Hunter goes to the office and does an interview, assessment or whatever, just to talk to them. I'm just going to streamline it. He asks if anyone has been out lately, and they say nonchalantly, well, yeah, people are out. Hunter asks for a list, and Eva's or Helen's name. That's another thing. Her name's different. Helen's name is on the list.
So after he determines it's a match, he gets her address from the company.
Yeah,
He just shows up.
she ain't there. He gets a video presentation of hers. It matches the voice. He asks for an address, and we end it there. Right. So Hunter shows up at the address. He matches the voice. He asks for an address. The name for the well, he doesn't even have a name, so he might just think her name is Helen. Okay.
Yep.
At the address. It's a Footlocker address. It's a Footlocker address. Dead end. However, now he knows what she looks like and is able to he's able to portray her voice. He's a robot. He can change his voice and make it sound like her, depending on who he's talking to. He gets the phone, calls a crew member that he identified, changes his voice to sound like
But then the crew member is like, "Why do you have?"
you gotta make up an excuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or he pretends to be the crew member and changes his voice to the crew member and says, meet me at they just let me out, blah blah. Where's everyone? We gives away the information. We abandoned the hideout on 45th Street for blah blah blah. Meet me at, you know what I mean? Like he thinks he's talking to the crew member, right? Oh damn, 1 minute and 17 seconds. Let me just put this in and then we're gonna have to like off the top make think of the ending. He now knows what to look for to portray her voice. Hunter gets permission for the phone. He pretends to be the crew member in custody as he calls another crew member he identified from the DNA sample. The crew member wants to be known that they abandoned the last hideout and everyone is on the run. Meet me at the coffee shop. And there goes the timer.
Oh
Got our
no.
work cut out for us because it's so detailed.
I know.
This one is fun. I have to say, folks, this one is
This is a fun. I really like this
like there's
story.
so like the more we kept going in it, and it's like, oh wait, this could be happening. And there's so much details and so many interesting things. And anytime you do like one of these detective things, the details matter is what leads you to the next thing. So like you kind of have to
Yeah.
get detailed in order to know where you're headed. But
Yeah, you have to string it in a way where it's like it makes sense and it's like very clever. It's like, oh,
right, no man, like this. Oh yeah, I will like another hour with this have something very interesting and like some of
wait.
the
So where did you leave off? He called Helen to go meet or
no
Ava to go meet him.
he called the other crew member that he identified, and so he has one crew member in custody. He identified maybe like three others, whoever all the rest are, but he doesn't like she's never been arrested, so he doesn't have her DNA, and so now he's getting to the other crew member at the coffee shop. I mean, I imagine this man just rolling up like 50 deep and is arresting this man on the spot, taking his phone.
Yeah.
He could probably take his phone and then call Helen, pretend to be the guy he just arrested, because then she wouldn't think the other guy's been arrested, so they might be like, "Yo, he's gone. Like, what's going on?" But she won't think of nothing about this dude. And then whatever happens after that, I don't know.
Oh man. Oh, I'm just writing a few things.
Yeah.
Helen shows up. It's gonna be very broad and vague. Hunt's arresting. He catches a glimpse of her. Cross analyzes the face. It's a match. Ava goes home, shaves her head
Oh yeah.
and
I can
eyebrows.
give you that part
Yeah,
after.
this will be the end.
Oh
It has to be the end.
yeah, no,
There's anything to be a part
get
two to this.
arrested at this point because what I could do is bring us all the way up to. Hold on, this is hefty. How much more you think you got in you from the time that Hunter goes to the coffee shop?
I could probably do the end. It's gonna be. It might sound like very shortened and abrupt, but I could probably hash one out.
Okay, because some of this stuff are like intercut, so like kind of go through it pretty quick, and then okay,
Yeah,
all right. I'll bring us to where we stopped, and then we can still intercut it. Like if you get trapped, just bounce it, and I'll step in.
yeah. I was thinking because we're gonna need. If you want to do some improvisation during when they hatch out their plan too,
Oh right, yeah. I have no idea for that, but
I got something for that kind of.
right. Where
Um,
hold on, where
so
was that? Was that after the first plan? Oh, it's when she comes back from work.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
so I could do the beginning up to that part. You could do the
So I'll do the beginning up to that plan ish part, and then let you kind
yeah.
of let it rock because they got the CEO double down part. I mean, I think you could do that, and then I'll kick back in around. I don't know, because you also have that QR code thing. That was pretty interesting. So okay, I'll kick back in after he arrests the first crew member.
See your rest first.
Yeah, because they follow him in the store, and then they take him in. Looks at his phone, whatever, see the QR code, like so. They arrest the first crew member. We have an interrogation at the station. So I'll do the interrogation at the station, and then bring us to where we last ended.
All right. So why don't you do the beginning part up to
Yeah, I'll do it up to pretty much.
up to the video call with the CEO, the foundation CEO.
Oh, okay, foundation.
Then I could do that part up to the QR drop, and then you can do the rest up to where we left off when the
Yeah.
timer rang. I'll do the end.
Yeah, I'll stop at Hunter on the call with Foundation. You'll do that, and then You want me to step back in? That's for
When they
the
rest the dude.
interrogation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that makes
When they rest the dude.
yeah. Okay.
And then yeah, just stop when the timer ended, and then I'll hash out this random ending.
You guys are getting a treat. This is a detailed improv. Really a cool story. I mean, I think it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, I think it's very cool. For the first time in 20 episodes, the timer has beat us.
The timer
Pretty
beat us thoroughly.
beat us good.
Yeah. Oh, we got a thrashing. Of course, it would happen on the 20th episode, but
Got us good. But
we're ready. We can handle it. All right.
so a recap for everyone. The 5 words we were given were corn, corruption, reflection, bald, resident. The 2 images we generated. There was one of a woman, a hooded woman, walking in the night streets. There's Foot Locker on there. It's just city streets at night. And the other one was a tablet full of business analytic and the country of Australia, the continent of Australia, highlighted in one of the pieces of paper and on the tablet as well. So with that, let's get into a story in cyberpunk dystopian Chicago.
We open up on a stream from YouTube being beamed down to billboard phones and news networks. It's of a masked woman telling the world that they were able to recover money from a nonprofit fronting as really a scheme to take more money from people, as only about 90% or 10% of the money given was actually shared out. In this video, they show proof of the financials and the company people having parties and just using the money incorrectly. This money is to not be taken in by this group, but to be given to all the parties that this nonprofit was supposed to give the money to, thus fulfilling the duty that the nonprofit couldn't. This broadcast ends. We see a newscaster ask really the main question: Who is this masked woman? And who are the resident? We cut to Eva walking over to her crew as they high five. One of them gets a case, an alcohol case, with the name of the nonprofit that they just took the money from written on it. They open the case to find a beautiful bottle of champagne. The crew member shakes it up, pops the cork. Of course, champagne goes everywhere. They party in this rundown apartment building. Eva tells them to listen up. This was a step in the right direction, but there's even greater things to come. Their master plan is still underway, and she'll have more information for them tomorrow. But for tonight, they party. The next day, we see Eva walking into an office building. She's greeted by the front desk, but this is strange as they call her Helen. And though the woman that we know as Eva replies to Helen, it seems everyone in this building keeps calling her Helen. She meets her coworkers at the elevator bank. They ask Helen, did she see the broadcast that was put out last night? Helen tells them that she doesn't really pay attention to the news, but since everyone's making such a big fuss about it, she'll go and check it out. She gets to her floor and walks over to her desk. On her desk and on a couple desks around, we see that she works in IT security. Behind her is a stack of servers that she is to help maintain and secure. Her boss comes over, sits down, puts his bag down, tells her good morning. And as the day goes on to the mundane duties of everyday office work, all of a sudden, her boss stands up and runs away from where they're sitting to take a call. Shocked by this, the coworker sitting behind Helen and her boss asks what was that about. Helen's reply, I don't know, but maybe you should go see what it was. Just don't get caught. The coworker replies, oh, well, you know I'm so nosy, and I'm so good at this. I'll be right back. His coworker walks off. Eva tracks her with her eyes. They're both out of sight. Eva takes out a thumb drive and connects it to her boss's laptop. She's hit with a firewall, but because of her skills, she masterfully gets around this, finding shared files only shared to those at the top of this organization with access of account financials and other plans. She downloads this information while every once in a while gleaming over the top of the cubicle to make sure that no one's coming or no one can see her. As the information is downloaded to the thumb drive, she takes it out and places it into her own tablet. She looks over it quickly and realizes the company is planning on opening an office in Australia. This opportunity means a large amount of money being transferred, the perfect opportunity and the perfect time to relieve them of that money. She smiles, places her tablet back into her bag, and sits back in front of her work laptop. Her coworker comes over and whispers, oh my God, can you believe it? Boss is having an affair. His wife has found some photos of him with another woman. She's crying all over, it sounds like. But he swears they aren't real. Can you believe him lying like that? Helen says, no, I can't, but I hope he can figure it out because she's a real nice woman. On her phone, we see the generated images of her boss and some women. Helen has sent those messages. It was her plan all along. We leave the office to arrive on at a scene where there's a bunch of folks being arrested. In the middle of all this chaos and folks being arrested is one, not so much man, but android named Hunter. It is Hunter's job to hunt, catch, and arrest criminals, as he's the lead detective for their department. Other police are there, wrapping up, getting some of these criminals into different police cars. They just busted a large gambling ring fronting as a coffee shop. Of course, everyone's telling their lies about it just being a coffee shop and no gambling happening in here, just the occasional card game from time to time. But Hunter stands there smooth, calm, collected, as he knows he just done a great job. A nondescript cop car pulls up. Two people pop out. It's his boss. Someone Hunter doesn't recognize. The boss comes over to Hunter and congratulates him on this major bust. What is it for this month? The fifth major bust of the month? Hunter shrugs. It's just what he does, really. But being one to not take congratulations. He smiles and says, "Well, thanks. We still have more work to do." The boss nods and says, "Yes." As a matter of fact, we actually have a newbie with us today that you're going to be training. Her name is Marilyn. She joins us fresh out of the academy. Hunter looks over Marilyn, scanning her, really. He smiles, extends his hand, shakes it very formally, and tells her, "Welcome." We leave this to go back to Eva and the crew. Everyone's in there making different arrangements for new plans that they want to pursue. Eva tells everyone to gather around. She has some important news to share. She tells them about the new opening in Australia for her company. It tells them the timeline has shifted. Instead of going after this money in a month's time, they will be doing it tomorrow. The plan to shift this large amounts of money to corn coin is upon them, and everyone must be ready. Some ask, is it really a good idea to do it so soon? Shouldn't we follow the plan as we had laid it out? Keep us safe. Eva, being slightly impatient, tells them, no, tomorrow is the day. We can move now and strike while the iron is hot. There's no point in waiting. We've been ready, and we're ready for tomorrow. The rest of the crew seems to nod and agree. Okay, we'll follow along with your command and with your demand. Then another member says, well, if that's the case, I should go make sure that new hideout will be ready for tomorrow. Everyone should be prepared in the morning to have their bags packed and shift over to the new place. They nod and agree.
Now, Hunter's we move back to Hunter. He's at the station. He's with Marilyn. They're on a police call or video call with the Foundation CEO from the video in the beginning. The CEO is livid. They're demanding that Hunter and Marilyn do their best to track down these perps, accusing them not working hard enough, telling them to delegate more force towards their case. Hunter is just smiling and nodding, saying that they're doing their best, blah, blah, blah. He rests assures that they will catch the perps and justice will be served. The CEO says, no, I don't want you to just catch the perps. I want these people to rot in jail, and I need you to also return the money. Hunter looks at the CEO, slightly confused but also curious. He says, no worries, we will find the perpetrators. But just here, it appears that the money has went to all the causes that you had set and planned to. So you're saying you want this money back. The CEO says, what we do with our money is not for you to decide. You just have to go catch these thieves, and we'll decide what to do with the money. But rest assured, it'll be going towards good causes. Marilyn pipes up because she's fidgeting in her seat. She's like, so you want to take the money back from where it was supposed to go? Maybe you guys are the corrupted crooks that the residents accuse you guys of being. The CEO says, how dare you? I'm going to write a complaint to your manager, starts cursing her out. Hunter interrupts the CEO and says, we're working on finding the perps. We'll catch them. And as far as your money goes, we'll do our best. And ends the video call. Afterwards, Marilyn and Hunter are by the water cooler. Marilyn asks, so what was that about? He asks Hunter's opinion on the whole thing. And Hunter just simply says, the law is the law. We just do things by the book. So Marilyn asks, so what are the next steps? Hunter puts on his hat. He says, I'm going home, but there's a stack of paperwork on your desk. I would get started right now if you want to finish before midnight. And leaves. The next day, the residents are hatching their plan. One of the residents' members sets up a coffee cart in front of the corporate building, while another is putting on his janitor suit, pulling out his mop and bucket, cleaning the lobby. The way the corporation is going to transfer the funds to the building in Australia to avoid cyber hackers and cyber terrorists, they must transfer it through a cold storage device physically that has all the keys to their account. So there's an armored vehicle pulled up in front. Everyone, the plan is going in place. They're watching it. The two armed guards enter the building. They carry a box in order to take the storage out. Ava, aka Helen, is at her desk, watching the whole thing transpire. Her boss signing the papers to give the device over to the armed guards. As soon as she sees them leave, she texts everyone in front to get ready. The plan is now in motion. The armed guards with the box go into the lobby, and the resident member with the coffee cart, he walks up to them with a tray full of coffee. He says, "You two look like you guys could use some nice coffee." The armed guards look at each other. And he said, "You know what? We don't turn down free coffee." As he reaches for the coffee, the resident member accidentally tips over and spills the coffee on them. Now there's a mess. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me go back to my cart and I'll get you a new one." Meanwhile, the resident member posing as the janitor comes up and starts mopping up the coffee. But while he's mopping up the coffee, he has a scanner that's able to scan the cold storage drive and take all the keys, copy all the keys to his USB device. As he does that, Marilyn is walking through the lobby on her lunch break. As she passes by, the janitor resident member drops the USB into her bag. As she goes back to the hideout, we see the coffee cart member and janitor member dumping their outfits into trash cans and alleys. The plan is a success. Moments later, we see the resident pop up on all streaming platforms, pop up on all digital billboards again. They have another message saying, "Corporations have been taking money from the innocent people living in this city for too long. And instead of sharing the money by raising wages, they want to expand their operations and build a luxurious building in the continent of Australia. Well, that building is going to be put on hold until further notice, and we are giving the money back to you, the good people of this city. If you want your share, scan this QR code that will pop up in 3, 2, 1. A QR code pops up on the screen. Everyone's holding their phone up, scanning it, getting some corn coin immediately delivered to their digital wallets. Everyone is cheering. The people of the corporation are confused, and even some of them are scanning it too, getting their share of the goods. Now, Hunt is on the scene. He's nearby. He scans the QR code with his eyes, trying to get whatever information he can. He gets all the social media platforms to link up to an API within his software so he can scan every single post. And he starts scanning and scanning for days to come. And he spots the first person who seems to have posted about purchasing an item with his newly acquired corn coins. He doesn't know who this person is, so he follows up on it. He's waiting in a vehicle with his side detective. They're staking out a nearby convenience store where this resident crew member lives, and they see him walking into that store.
Okay. After this resident member goes into the store, they stalk up behind him, waiting to see what he does. Eventually, he takes out his phone to pay. As he does this, Hunter has an opportunity to scan his phone and realizes this is the person that made the first post ever about corn coin. They go ahead and arrest him and take him down to the station for interrogation. As they do, as they ask him all the questions they need to ask, the crew member thinks he's being slick and tells them the location of the old hideout to buy him some time. Hunter and Marilyn, pleased with this information, leave to go and arrest whoever is at this old hideout. They arrive on the scene, some cops in tow, and conduct a raid. But as the raid is going on, one of the crew members from the resident watches from afar. He realizes they need to make moves. As he leaves and runs back and tells everyone, "Hey, we need to separate," Eva tells them that she will be leaving the country. She advises everyone to do that as well if they can. For now, lay low. They'll hatch up another plan and go after another company. We go back to Hunter, and he's visibly upset. Marilyn is on a warpath. They've been lied to. But Hunter can do a few things that not most detectives can do. He begins to scan the hideout and is alerted to champagne and some cups that they were using when they were partying. He picks up the cup and slowly places his mouth. He swipes it. Marilyn watches in disgust. Cup after cup, he swipes each one around the brim. Finally, she asks, "What in the hell are you doing?" Hunter replies, casually, "I'm analyzing for DNA." As this happens, we can see some folks are popping up and others are not showing any DNA links found. They decide to go back to the station. They go back into the interrogation room and they bring in the resident crew member that they had arrested. Tells them, "You have lied. And now we're going to try to get your phone." The only problem is the phone has been put away as evidence and needs the signed consent of a judge in order to bring it back up. So Hunter places in the paperwork to get that phone. While at the station and the paperwork being filed, he gets a chance to listen to the new broadcast that was put out. He analyzes the voice. Still, he's not sure who it could be because the voice has been changed. But with his programming, he's able to take away the voice change and listen to the unedited, clean version of the voice. Unfortunately, it doesn't ring any bells in the system, but at least he's a step closer. Hunter goes to the office and does his interview assessment. He is asked what has happened, give him the play-by-play of how they lost all their money. And all they want is for him to get it back and to find out who did it. While Hunter listens, an idea comes into his head. He asks, "Were there anyone doing anything strange that day?" The interviewee thinks, "Nothing necessarily out of the ordinary." It's a dead end. Hunter then asks, "Well, were there anyone out that typically should be in?" This question seems kind of boilerplate. Yes, sure, there's always people out. Some people on PTO, some people on sick leave. People can be out for many reasons. Hunter asked for that list of folks that was out in the past 2 days. On that list, we see the name Helen. As he surveys the list and goes through each one, he asks a very strange question. Does he have video or audio of the people listed on this list? Helen's boss is confused by this question. "Why would you want that?" he asks. Hunter tells him that he's able to compare voice and he just wants to make sure that everyone on this list can be crossed off of his mental list of potential people to look into. Helen's boss says, "I don't know about everyone on that list. Not everyone works for me. But this person here, Helen, she works for me and she just did a presentation not too long ago that was recorded. I can play some of it back to you if you like." And so he does. As Hunter watches and analyzes the voice to the voice of the masked woman, it matches. Helen's her name. He has a face to go along with this name. His last question, "Do you have her home address?" Marilyn and Hunter go to the address listed as her address for the company, and it leads back to a Foot Locker store. Dead end. Okay. Hunter thinks to himself and says, maybe, just maybe, that crew member we have in custody has more information he can tell us. Now that we know what she looks like and what she sounds like. They go back to the precinct, and it's at that point in time, Hunter is given the best news all day. The request for the phone has been approved. He takes out the phone and calls another crew member who he was able to identify from the DNA sample off the cup. And to his thrill, that crew member answers the phone and tells him, "Hey, where have you been? We haven't seen you in a while. Things have changed. Things are changing fast." Hunter, pretending to be the currently incarcerated crew member, as he changes his voice, tells him, yeah, he knows he had to run. He got away from the last hideout, but he doesn't know where everyone went after. The other crew member in the line tells him they abandoned the current hideout. Everyone's on their own, and Eva is trying to leave the country. Hunter replies, I didn't know. I didn't know that everyone was going on their own ways. Can we meet up real quick? The crew member agrees, and they decide to meet up at the coffee shop. Hunter and Marilyn arrive with their gang of police to the coffee shop to see the stunned crew member standing there, or sitting there, awaiting his coffee. They arrest him on the spot. Hunter takes the phone off this guy. It may not be protocol or necessarily the right thing to do, but he knows in his bones he's on the right path. It's better to ask forgiveness than ask for permission. Takes the phone and calls the name that was just given to him, Eva. As the phone rings, he's wondering if this could be the same person that he knew as Helen. The phone's picked up. He replies, Eva. And Eva says, Yes, what is it? You know we need to go our own ways. In that very moment, he knows the true name of Helen to be Eva.
So he, through that phone call, again, without asking for forgiveness later, he's able to trace that call to where she is. Eva is oblivious to this. She thinks she's talking to a crew member. He hangs up the phone. Eva on the other line says, Hello? Huh, that's weird. But out of precaution, she decides to leave her apartment and take hideout in a building nearby. She makes her way to the building next door, makes her way to the fire escape where she could see through the windows of her apartment on the top floor. And we flip to the other scene. Hunter and Marilyn are in patrol cars, driving like bats out of hell downtown towards this building with 50 other patrol cars. They surround the building. Eva's watching the whole thing unfold from above, trying to keep her head down. They watch as Hunter and Marilyn and the police kick in her door and storm her apartment. They start looking everywhere, and Hunter finds her phone in the toilet. Now, Eva makes her way. She now knows that they're after, they're on her tail, and she needs to start making her way and getting the hell out of here. As she's exiting and walking down the street, Hunter's looking out the window, just scanning. And he sees a woman, the back of her head, and he scans it and tries to cross-reference it from the video he saw. And it looks like a good match, that the back of this head of this person matches the front of Helen that he saw in the video presentation. He immediately calls out after that woman. She's walking that way. Eva keeps looking behind her, and she sees cops coming out the front door. So she starts running. She eventually loses them and takes refuge in a shady motel for the night. She looks at herself in the mirror that night, lets out a deep sigh, and immediately puts shaving cream on her eyebrows and her head, pulls out a disposable razor, and starts shaving herself bald, muttering to herself, that damn X500, so good at facial recognition. As she's doing that, Hunter is back at the station with Marilyn, trying to figure out how he could find her next. He's thinking of ways of where, if he was Ava, where would he hide for the night? He says this will probably take a couple days, but he tells Marilyn to get all the security footage from around every single hotel and motel in the city to him. As she does that, Hunter takes all the footage, all the drives, goes back to his place, plugs it into the USB socket in his hand, one by one, and he sits there, cross-legged in meditation form, analyzing all the security footage throughout the city within the past 2 days. There's the screen, he has her face, he's analyzing and scanning everyone's faces that pop up. He notices a woman in a hood signing into a motel. He looks at her, zooms in on her face, and pulls her up. But she has no eyebrows and she's bald. But he cross-references her eyes, mouth, and nose. And he knows that this is, in fact, Ava. She just shaved off all her hair. He calls Marilyn, tells her he has a lead finally. They show up at this motel, ask about this woman, showing him the footage of what room. They tell Marilyn and Hunter the room where Ava was staying or where she rented for the night. They walk up to the room, pounding on the door, saying, "We got you. Open up." He twists the doorknob. As soon as he twists the doorknob, a USB shoots into his socket on his hand from the doorknob. It's installing malware to his program. A bunch of ads are flooding his system. He's screaming in pain. He's on the ground. He's just getting hit with ads after ads of random things. Food, things that are not relevant to him is just flooding his mind and is overwhelming his system. Marilyn's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Hunter has his hands on his head, trying to get back to normal, trying to fight off this malware and virus that just got installed onto him. He sees a bunch of flight plans pop up, going from place to place, and he sees a little cat pop up that says, "Catch me if you can." And then we cut to Marilyn. She's on a ferry leading to somewhere. She has sunglasses on and a hood. The end.
Off the top.
Off the top.
That was a hell of a story. I honestly think with a bit more time,
of course,
it would have been something really outstanding. But it's a really good story. But
the bones of it is really good. It's like interesting.
Yeah.
We just need time to put in all the details that are necessary.
Right. Well, you know what time it is, Kevin.
Man, that was a fun story. I enjoyed that.
I'm curious to see how that guy does this. Because that was fun. I'm curious to see what it comes up with. I feel like it'll come with something completely different than what we just made.
Man, that was a tall task for us.
Yeah.
The cat and mouse detective game. Story.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Model 4. All right. So, let's see. Can you create a story using the words corn, corruption, reflection, bald, and resident as words or themes in the story? Also, have a scene of a city street with our main character in a hood.
Yeah, in a hood. It probably doesn't matter that it's nighttime, but it was also nighttime.
Yeah.
Incorporate a tablet.
Yeah, tablet with business, analytic, and Australia.
Yeah.
In the story as well. Should we tell him that our character is like a hacker?
Yeah.
Yeah. Make the main character a female hacker.
Yeah, we can give it that.
A hacker's goal is similar to Robin Hood.
Right. Okay.
She wants to steal from the rich and give to the poor.
Yeah, and I want to give it much more than that. Just see what creativity comes up with.
All right.
Let's see.
Code of the Cornfield.
Oh, man. Well, we're located in Australia. Once upon a time, not long ago, an Australian town, Cornfield Code.
She assumed the identity of a modern-day Robin Hood.
Her goal, to create more corn. Wasn't it AI that also said they would pay someone in potatoes or corn? Was it corn? Cheese.
Yeah. That was the best.
We'll pay you in corn. As the sun set over the cornfields. Oh, it must be Jessica. Jessica stood watching with a quiet smile on her face.
Ooh, okay.
All right, let's read this bad boy.
Bald hacker in cornfield.
Yeah, the name it gave it up here, though, titled
Code of the Cornfield.
Way better.
Yeah, way better. Once upon a time, in a small Australian town nestled among the cornfields, there lived a woman named Jessica. Jessica was known by the locals for her intelligence and kindness. She was a resident of the town, but most didn't know her secret. She was a highly skilled hacker with a mission to expose corruption and redistribute wealth from the rich to the poor. Jessica's life hadn't always been this way. She had been a successful business analyst in a bustling city, using her tablet to crunch numbers and analyze data for big corporations. She had become disillusioned, however, after witnessing the true extent of corruption within the organization she worked for. One fateful day, she caught her reflection in her tablet screen and realized that she needed a change. I like that. She decided to return to her hometown and assume the identity of a modern-day Robin Hood. Her goal? Create a more equitable world by hacking into the systems of the corrupt and transferring their wealth to those in need. Jessica shaved her head bald, symbolizing a fresh start, and donned a hood to hide her identity from those who might recognize her. Late one night, Jessica found herself on a city street, the hood of her cloak shielding her face from the few passerby. In her hands, she clutched a tablet, the screen displaying an array of business analytics and complex codes. She was about to execute one of her most daring hacks yet, infiltrating the accounts of a wealthy tycoon known for exploiting his workers. As she tapped away at her tablet, she noticed her reflection in the screen. It reminded her of the choice she made and the path she had chosen. With a final tap, the transfer was complete. Jessica knew that her work was far from over, though. She would continue her mission to bring balance to her community and beyond, one hack at a time. Back in the cornfields, the grateful residents who had been struggling to make ends meet found their bank accounts mysteriously replenished. They whispered among themselves about a hooded figure who roamed the streets at night, but no one dared to question the good fortune that had come their way. Jessica, the bald hacker with a heart of gold, had become a local legend. As the sun set over the cornfields, Jessica stood there, watching with a quiet smile on her face. She knew that the fight against corruption was a never-ending battle, but she was ready for the challenge. With her trusty tablet and the support of her community, Jessica would continue her mission to steal from the rich and give to the poor, making the world a better place, one hack at a time.
It decided to have a nice little happy ending there. I think this is a well constructed story.
It's pretty good. It's not bad.
You know?
I like some of the details in here.
Yeah.
Like it's her seeing the reflection in the tablet.
Yeah.
I like that. I like how they used that.
This one might be touching, Kev.
Nah, I don't think so. I think it's one of the best stories that
it's put out.
This has come up with.
Yeah.
But I also think, on the other hand, the story we just made is one of the best ones that we just made too.
Yeah, I think honestly, with even more work, like even if you were to continue to work on that story you just gave us, like it's kind of it's a nice story, but if you were to continue to work on the story that we just came up with all the craziness, like it's kind of like a thriller, it's a crime thriller. Like it definitely gets your heart going, and you're the way it ends, like it's just a different type of story. So we'll go ahead and take the trophy for this one.
Yes, sir.
And, for everyone watching and listening, you tell us, which one do you prefer? But
I think that was a clear win for us. I mean, we both brought our A games, the AI and us, but ours just a little too much. If we would have came up with something crazy, the AI would have won. But today, we showed up in full force with I think, a spectacular story. With a little bit of love, can be turned into something pretty good.
Well,
but now we need a title.
That had a pretty decent title.
Code of the Cornfield. Yeah, that's not bad.
I put down here just corn. I feel like if you were to see that on a movie poster, you'd be like, what? Corn? Like, what is this?
But, with a dollar sign in front of it? Like,
like
it would,
as if it's a coin.
Yeah.
You also have the resident, kind of straightforward, and the masked woman.
The bald masked woman.
Those are some of the ones that I thought of, at least. The masked woman seems mysterious. It meant to be mysterious. The resident seems vague. Like, you don't know what you're watching. Masked woman, you're like, okay, there's a woman who's hiding her face. What is she about? So.
Yeah, I do like the dollar sign corn. I think that's pretty cool.
I think it'd be relevant to today's audience.
Yeah, I think so.
We're going with the dollar sign corn.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Corn coin.
Corn.
What a great story.
You heard it here, folks. Man. That was corn.
Yep. Episode 20.
That's right.
That wraps it up. And we'll be back next week. Brand new words, brand new image, and brand new story. So just keep on writing, and we'll talk to you next week.